Okay, so today we're going to just discuss the existence of alternative societal structures, but and just kind of really like what they are and how they fit into what people on Earth usually talk about, like the isms and such. Um, but let me see my intro. Again, these are just some placeholders for future videos to try to gather some interest in this subject. But yeah, I'm an alien from deep in Uranus, here to provide some solutions to Earth on how to optimize the human existence. So you guys are, I think, ready for it, and you've got the technology for it. So let's go. All right. The majority of the time, there's this constant feud on capitalism, socialism, communism, and stuff. Some people go further one way or further another, and it makes sense, But it's one of those things that people do. They know that there's an issue, but it's one of those like, oh, you only got these two choices, and what other choice is there? And that's the trick. And they're like, oh, sometimes you might say, oh, media is distracting us, but but what are they distracting you from? That's the thing. Or like, what's all our education for? Oh, it keeps you in line. I was like, okay, cool. What's the other thing we can do? And ultimately, a lot of times what happens is like, people are trying to do something else, but then they're still within the same system. And then, the powers that be ultimately want you to continue, talking about socialism versus capitalism. But there's another one. And, well, let me, well, which the other one is the societal structure. So let's just societal structure is the backbone in which the policies of capitalism and socialism and communism, all the isms, operate on. So societal structure, this is another version of the pyramid scheme. It's just a different view. I said this in one of the other videos that, hold on a second. Yeah, we're not editing videos here. I was just going to put here's a pyramid, here's a circle, okay? And this is just another perspective of the arrangement of how the pyramid system aligns. And you got a special type of pyramid system, especially in United States or all of them, where you got this. See, there's this disconnect right here. You look on a dollar, you see it. Again, I don't know if it's purposeful or what, like on the buck, but you've always got these people up top that monitor the bottom. And it's funny. It's called the monetary system. What exactly are they monitoring? Again, I'm not claiming the Illuminati or any of that. I don't know anything about that, nor do I care. But this is a math equation, which later videos we're going to talk about the math equation that actually creates the pyramid. It's a system of imbalance. There's always an imbalance. That's why the idea of like, oh, you're making more money now, but you got less stuff. It's because of the ratio. So it's not about money having any type of absolute value. But that's the pyramid, and this is the circle, and that's got its own math equation too. And in the pyramid, I'm going off track already, but in the pyramid, everybody operates as stepping stones. That's why you always got to like do better. You got to like outdo somebody. That creates racism and all that type of stuff. All the isms, because ultimately, you're like, oh, why don't people get together? Because your system actually requires you to step on each other. Your system requires you to like compete against each other. And this one doesn't require you to compete against each other. But the funny thing is, actually, no, that's not what I wanted to draw. I wanted to draw pieces of a pie. Pretend it's a pie. There you go. That's a pie. And everybody benefits from it. But the thing is, it's not capitalism, and it's not communism or socialism. The isms work are the policies. So okay, all right. Hopefully, I'm making some sense. And again, like I said in a previous video, that there's no difference in networks, societal networks, and computer networks. It's the same things. Everybody, access firewalls, permissions, domain, like the domain of where you live and stuff. The access to this and that, the firewall, don't let them in. But all that stuff operates on the societal structure part. Okay, so like even if you could imagine these as either 5 people or 5 cities, it doesn't matter, 5 countries. This is and just these ones right here. This is like 5 people, like this guy rules the other ones, like everything reports to them. There's not necessarily a connection from here to here, but everyone is here is connected. And I'm not talking about that. I know for some people equality is like, I'm tired of hearing that word. Some people like it more than others, but like it's a little bit different. Like you're not taken from anybody. It's just this is just decentralized, and the good thing is like even this word, like Bitcoin and stuff, you have multiple servers, things stored in multiple places. You're not going to necessarily say that's, there's some people that don't like the word equality, so I'm not gonna use that. But I'm gonna use the word redundant because maybe like instead of having one central server here, you've got multiple kind of spread out. That's actually one of the powerful things about the United States. That like in some ways it's good, in some ways it's bad. But like if some dickhead gets in control, he can't necessarily like say all the states have to act a particular way. So that's kind of it's kind of decentralized in that way. Imagine there are no states, and whenever a president gets in office, then there's no like there's differences. Like if you go to a Home Depot, not every Home Depot is arranged the same way. But here again, so you've got societal structure where if you could imagine that as again the network in which programs run, and those programs are actually policies, the capitalism, socialism, communism, and this is just such a fucking argument, like that you're never like people who love capitalism, they're just not going to do some socialism or communism. People who love socialism and communism are just not going to do some capitalism. And so the cool thing is it's like sometimes they're both appropriate depending on what you're doing, so I'm like, it's just maybe forget about this issue, just like just forget about it for a little bit and focus on this one, because this is this pyramid scheme that, like, again, if you talk to anybody, usually like if you just even ask them, I'm like, hey, do you like pyramid schemes? Everybody's gonna say, nah, man, nah. And both people on the right and the left, they're liking the decentralization. Like people see the pros of that, and so I just think that this is a winning thing right here. And then you've got experience. This is like some people like solar punk is really cool. This is a particular experience that you can have after implementing these policies. So you first lay out the structure, then you have the policies, and then you get to feel the impacts of what you've created. And there's infinite ways to experience the creations of humankind and all of your interactions. But why don't you just just watch some movies that are considered cyberpunk and ask yourself, hey, are we going that route? And then ask yourself, Google some solar punk stuff and say, hey, are we going this route? And see which route you'd like to go, because in my opinion, solar punk is pretty neat. I think it would provide a real good vision, because you really need a vision in you really like humans, the Earth. Everybody needs a vision, and right now you don't have anybody creating a vision. The people who you have creating visions are ultimately like bankers, I guess, or people who just want dollars. I mean, dollars aren't even real. I'll have to go into a subject of that, but I'm sort of glad in some ways, like when you're getting away from the physical dollar, you can kind of, especially the younger generations, can see it a little bit more now that the dollar is just sort of like a point system, So isn't it kind of weird that like somebody might give someone dollars, like a country gives another country $1 billion? You're like, yo, what is it? You mean these are points? They're just credits? Like they're not even real. Like what is this? And again, somebody might say, hey, I've you don't understand what you're talking about. I've got a PhD. And for anybody here that's got a PhD, and economics or business or whatever it is. I really don't care about that because you got a PhD in this shit. In this is the pyramid scheme, and ultimately the pyramid scheme sucks. So you know you can go to school and you can learn quite a bit about a complicated system that's ultimately shit. And then tell everybody else, oh, they don't know what they're doing because the system's so complicated and you don't understand why, you know, it is. But you don't have to like eat shit. You know, you don't have to go to school for eating shit, right? To know that like you don't want to eat shit. You know, you don't have to go to school to like know that like, hey, everybody's getting their ass kicked. Oh, but there's this economic, you know, point system. Anyway, so what we know about is this one, and that's what we're trying to tell you all about. And ultimately, another way you could also look at the two different systems is this system right here focuses on autonomy. In this system here, you don't really hear the word too much, hertonomy. And you know, it's kind of funny to think about it. Like, I think people have been using the word autonomy more and more, you know? But like, why hasn't hertonomy been taught? I mean, this is the system that we have, but you don't teach that in school. You don't say, hey, look, this is how it works. Or maybe they do. They just, you know, you just kind of like ingrained in knowing that like, you know, you're dropped out of a vagina, right? Splat. You hit the ground and then you're like, you try to walk around. The ground's not free. You know, you go left, you go right, you go up, you go down. None of it's free. All the food's claimed. So it's like, all right, what do I do? And then apparently you got to go serve somebody. You're like, all right. And then you go into debt and stuff like that. But that's this system. But before all this, I mean, again, this is just a quick video just showing you societal structure comes first. It's the backbone. Policy is second. It's the isms, the capitalism and communism. And then the experience that you feel. So there's some people that are really, really into solar punk. There's a really small community. But the experience you feel. So it's solar punk. But guys, before you get to solar punk, you've got to do this one. Because solar punk runs on the decentralized circle. Okay? So if anybody wants this solar punk, what they're going to need to do is set up this bitch. Because this one ain't going to do it. You'll get cyberpunk out of that. That cyberpunk is all the excessive surveillance, and you know, just Google a couple movies, and you know why you could even say, well, why do I say movies? Because, well, you know, it's really funny. Like again, I'll say this many times. Everything comes from the mind, and you know, it's pretty crazy to see that the artists, filmmakers and engineer, whatever anybody thinks about, as long as it a lot of times sort of makes sense and abides by cause and effect, we can kind of create. It's really crazy, and more videos we'll go into some stuff that will further explain some interesting evolutions and things and such. But all of this ultimately comes from the mind. So. First we got to improve the mind. We got to like at least be healthy up here. You know, we got to like if you don't want solar punk, if there's people like I like a shitty Earth, I like everything to be terrible. That you know, like I don't know what the hell's going to come out of there. Like if you just go around and talk to people and they're literally like, I want people to suffer. Then there's a problem, you know, with the mind, and we'll talk about that later. Again, these are just some placeholders. You know, maybe I'll review these and I won't speak so fast. Maybe I'm speaking, you know, all right. I don't know. We'll see. And the other thing is, so we've got these are just some printouts. The build circles, project build circles. You know, you might read through it once and say, oh, what is this going to do? But ultimately, I mean, it's going to take some time to truly understand what this could do. But what this can do is transform this into this. It's the 100%, the exact steps needed to go from a pyramid scheme to a circle. And again, you can print this out. You can hand it out to people, discuss it, and then on destroypyramids.org, there is a labyrinth to just kind of help allow you to look at the different paths. There's infinite paths to go, but the different paths society can travel, and then maybe that'll come to the conclusion that you like the circle and you dislike the pyramid. If it doesn't, then that's cool too. You do you. And then you've got this right here. This is free. You can get this for free. It's the blueprints ultimately see. It's a blueprints to at least get your mind thinking that way. And you could read it 100% for free on destroypyramids.org. We're also trying to promote the gift economy, an economy of abundance, where this is also the gift economy. This is also an economy of abundance. So like you can get this there, read it, and if you find value, then there you can give it to somebody. You can, but we exist to again provide Earth with a solution to change its structure, and then from there, if you want to argue what part of this should have some capitalism, or what part of this should have some socialism, that absolutely makes sense. And if you want to argue the type of experience that you get, that makes sense. But later in some other videos, we'll go into, you really got to think about your leaders and what type of people you have controlling the vision of the United States or anywhere, just all of Earth. But I would go with a futuristic way of looking at it is you want artists, you want creators, not content creators, not people and really not us either, because we're not artists, we're bringing you the structure, but you want artists to develop wonderful worlds, and then from these wonderful worlds, this like the artists are in control, the creatives, making the beautiful things, they should be in control, empathetic creators, and then from there, it should also be then empathetic engineers that can create the structure, and then from there, lower might be some people analyzing policy, those in accounting and business or whatever it is. But people in business shouldn't be at the top, right? Because then they'll run it like a business. And if you've ever seen a country ran like a business, ultimately a company's goal isn't to make the employees money; it's to work them to death. So I'll just leave you at that. Yeah.